my fellow small business supporters. I'm Savvy, and today I'm going to be channeling my inner Dave Hollis by reminding you guys that you guys asked for it.
You guys asked for it.
That's right. Y'all asked for it. I put up a poll on my YouTube asking, do you guys want me to do a reaction to Rachel Hollis's new show, The Rachel Hollis Show, on Quibi? And pretty much everyone said yes. One person said, no, you've been too hard on Rachel, you should stop criticizing her. But everyone in the comments was like, was Rachel herself voting on this poll? I kind of hope she was. That'd be cool. If you're voting on my polls, Rachel, what's up? Let's hang out. Let's do a podcast interview. Let's talk. Let's get some coffee. Let's just talk it out. We'll squash our beef. It'll be good, except maybe we'll have a rap battle in the process. Anyway, actually the option that most of you voted for was yes, and also talk about how she's not taking the quarantine seriously. When I wrote that, she is taking the quarantine seriously, but she's posted a bunch of like tone-deaf Instagram posts about the ways her family's handling it. So I might actually just do that in a separate video because this video has enough in it to be multiple videos on its own. So I downloaded the 90-day free trial on Quibi. This video is not sponsored by Quibi. Quibi, please hit me up. Please sponsor me. And I watched The Rachel Hollis Show. So Rachel has a new show that's on Quibi. Contrary to popular belief, I do not exist to hate on her. I am not here. I'm here to criticize, but not to hate. So I went into this show with an open mind, and there were some things I liked about it, and there were also a lot of things I had a problem with. Without any further ado, let's take a look at The Rachel Hollis Show on Quibi. Here we go. Episode of The Rachel Hollis Show is called How to Be Truly Happy. I don't think we could have a more vague title for a first episode. After watching a few episodes of this show, I noticed that the main problem was that not that the episodes were bad, but that they were unfocused. So the episodes are very short. They're each like 5-6 minutes a piece, and she puts one out every weekday. So they're pretty frequent, but they're pretty unfocused. I know that like it sounds almost redundant to say that because we know that like Rachel's brand right now is just vague motivation. It doesn't really have a specific goal other than motivating people and telling you you can do it. But the theme of each episode is often very vague, and then the episode will start off with one thing and then focus on something else, and it's just kind of all over the place. So this first episode I watched called How to Be Truly Happy. At the beginning, Rachel just kind of talks to the camera. She talks about how she rented out a house for this show. She's not even in her real house, which I don't understand why she did that because she has a very nice house, and like it would probably be like her whole brand is being real and showing my real life, so why she used a fake house and a set for it, I don't understand. It seems very off-brand for her. But she talks about how she's in a set right now. She's like in a fake house that's not really hers. But then she goes on to just talk to the camera with a plain white background as if she's just on her YouTube channel or on a vlog. So I don't see what the whole purpose of showing that huge expensive camera setup and all of that even was.
This is not my house. We rented an entire house to create a show just for you. This is the place to start your day off right. Every single day? No, that's...
So she does that, and then partway through she's talking about what it means to be happy, and then she's basically like, you know what makes me happy is cooking. So then it just suddenly turns into a cooking show, and then the second half of the episode is just her showing you how to make a chicken recipe, which is great. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty funny actually, because she was talking about how when she first had her first child, she would have to cook one-handed because she would carry around the baby with one hand, which like parents out there, I feel like there's got to be another solution for that. But regardless, she would cook one-handed and carry her baby around with the other hand. So she was like, here's a recipe you can do one-handed. And then she's like, they have her holding a baby doll in it, and the baby doll's creepy looking, and she's like, oh, this is a creepy demon baby. Like, it was actually kind of cute. I was amused by it. So then she showed us how to make this chicken, and I thought it looked pretty good. So I was like, good job, Rachel. I'm very proud of you. Then I was like, then why did this episode start off with this very vague idea? Like, why wasn't the focus of the episode like making my chicken recipe? Like, I feel like this show right now, it could have just been like, this episode is going to focus on lifestyle advice regarding cooking. This episode is going to focus on advice regarding organization or something like that. But instead, she's like, this episode is going to focus on the vague meaning of what it means to be truly happy. But really, I'm going to be showing you how to make chicken. So I was like, I don't know why. Like, the structure of that just felt off to me. And I was like, maybe don't try to tackle a huge topic like, what does happiness mean? Why are we here? What is the purpose of in life. Maybe try not to tackle that in like a 6-minute episode. Maybe instead be like, this episode is about my chicken recipe. Because I feel like I would be more likely to click on that, knowing that Rachel has written cookbooks and she's, you know, Southern, so not to stereotype, but every Southerner I know is good at cooking, so I trust her. Then the next episode is where I thought it started to get a little bit problematic, and I hate the word problematic, but it did start to get a little bit that way. So the second one is called How to Rewire Your Brain, which is a psychological concept. Like, that's a thing you would learn in therapy, right? Is like rewiring your brain to react to things differently. Or when people talk about like the wires in your brain, it's often referring to like the neurotransmitters and how it's wired, and how like if certain neurotransmitters don't function properly, you might have to go on medication, you might have to take some kind of serotonin medication or something. At least that's my understanding of it from being someone who visits a psychiatrist for my OCD. Rachel has talked about mental health briefly in the past, but a lot of times her approach to mental health publicly has been a lot of like, wow, thanks, I'm cured kind of stuff, right? Where it's like she gives a very basic solution. So this episode is called Rewire Your Brain, so you would think this would be like a psychological kind of thing, which it starts off that way, which feels uncomfortable because it's like Rachel is not a licensed therapist, she's not a licensed psychiatrist, so like she probably shouldn't even be covering this topic in the first place. Or maybe she could like have a guest on her show that is a licensed therapist and be interviewing them about ways to rewire your brain or that kind of thing. But instead, she just does an episode where she talks about how she rewires her own brain, and how she does that is by choosing different fun outfits. So then just like how the first one just turned into a cooking show, this just turned into Rachel being like, here's a white t-shirt and some jeans. This is a basic outfit, but here's how I can transform it into, here's a professional outfit. I put a blazer on it. Here is a date night outfit. I put on some red lipstick with it. Here's whatever. She was like, here's how I can take this basic outfit and transform it into for many different occasions. And I'm like, you started off with like a psychological mental health concept and turned it into like fashion advice. So why didn't you just do like episode 1, how to make a good chicken recipe, episode 2, how to make lots of outfits out of one outfit? Like, why are you trying to have these more like broad concepts that really you should be talking with a professional to have them give the advice about? At least that's how it kind of seems to me. From there, episode 3 is called Reach for Something Real. And in this episode, a few things happen. First of all, she falls into a trope that I've mentioned in other videos that I really hate this particular trope. Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, succumbed to this trope in her book Lean In. And it makes me feel like I'm not supposed to be your target audience, and I feel like alienated and excluded. And it's when she has this trope of like, as women, we're conditioned to not want to reach for higher goals. Like, it's this whole thing of like, it makes me feel like, was I just oblivious to the fact that I was female this whole time? Was I just like oblivious to the fact that culture was supposed to be telling me these things? Like, that's totally possible. I'm a very oblivious person. Walk into shit all the time. I fall over all the time. Like, I walk into traffic half the time. I'm very oblivious, so I could have been. But also, it's this fact that she's here like women are often more likely to always put their family first, or to put their husband first, or to put their kids first. Like, I'm here to empower you to put yourself first. And it's like, maybe I'm just a selfish bitch, but I've always put myself first, like from the day I was born, so I don't really know what you're on about, Rachel. And it makes me feel like the fact that she's just like talking about how, you know, women have this struggle, so I'm gonna empower you to change that. I'm like, I didn't have that struggle in the first place. Are you trying to make me aware of a thing I should have been insecure about when I was blissfully ignorant this whole time? So but there's a bigger problem in this episode, which ties into the most recent episode called Creating Healthy Habits. So these two episodes kind of tie together. Not really. They're actually like a few episodes apart, so I don't think I was even supposed to connect them in my brain, but I did. I guess I rewired my brain. But in the most recent episode called Creating Healthy Habits, Rachel talks about how she overcame a drinking problem. I mean, kudos to her for overcoming it. You know, alcoholism is a very, very serious problem. I have lost people in my life to alcoholism. I have known people who have really struggled with it. But I will say, after you've recovered from alcoholism, not that I've ever gone to rehab or anything like that, so if I'm wrong about this, please do correct me, because people who have actually been to rehab would know this more than I do. But from what I've heard, most people I know who are former alcoholics, they're supposed to never drink again. You don't want to drink again because that's unhealthy for you at this point. You need to stay sober, like you're sober for the rest of your life. Rachel, for someone who talks about overcoming a drinking problem, doesn't talk about alcohol in a way that sounds like someone who has overcome this problem. And I'm not saying she still has a drinking problem, and I'm not saying that her drinking problem wasn't that bad. I'm saying that I think if you do have a drinking problem, some of her advice might be dangerous. Because in this episode where she talks about how she overcame her drinking problem, and she had to do that by finding things in life that were worth more than having a drink to her. But in the episode about reaching for bigger goals, that was earlier, the majority of the episode was about how when she sets a huge goal and achieves it, she drinks a bottle of champagne. And how one of her, like her big goal, like if she achieves like a huge goal, like hitting the New York Times bestseller list, like getting $1 million in revenue, like huge goals. She has like part of her goal setting process is that she'll get an expensive bottle of champagne and she'll put a label on it that says, you have accomplished this, and it'll be a goal she hasn't accomplished yet. So the idea is that once she then does accomplish that goal, she can then pull out that bottle of champagne, read, you have done this, because she's now done that, and then she can drink that bottle. So essentially, we have someone who later on tells us that she's a recovering alcoholic, telling us that her reward for accomplishing major goals is alcohol. I was a little shocked by that, actually, that she was talking about how she had to overcome a drinking problem, but she also rewards herself for goals with a drink. And these weren't in the same episode. These were very far apart in the series, so I think it obviously wasn't supposed to go together like that. But if you take all of Rachel's advice and you're taking her advice and saying, okay, I need to overcome alcoholism, I need to prioritize other things in my life ahead of drinking, and then you're also taking her advice that I have a bottle of champagne set aside for when I achieve this goal, you can see how that's a problem, right? So anyway, that's the first couple episodes of the Rachel Hollis show on Quibi. If you guys want me to review more of it, I can. I unfortunately cannot cut in video of it because I don't know how to get clips of that. Like, it's on Quibi and I can't get it on my computer, and I don't want to get copyright claimed. So if you have suggestions, let me know. But if you'd like me to review more episodes of it, I can do that. But it seems like, you know, it's a mixed bag. There's some things in there, like I think her cooking advice is good. I think that some of the things she's saying are true, but at the same time, like, I think that the show is very unfocused, and I also think that her advice surrounding people's behavior towards alcohol. You guys know I drink on camera all the time, but I would never recommend to someone trying to overcome a drinking problem that they should drink. That makes no sense. That's incredibly irresponsible advice. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Rachel Hollis's show, The Rachel Hollis Show. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Let me know if you'd like me to do another video like this. I will see you guys all again soon, but in the meantime, don't forget to support small businesses. Have a happy day!